Alrighty, well I guess we're good to go. Thank you very much for joining us today, folks. This is our 3 o'clock feeding demonstration. My name is Seth. I'm a keeper here in our reptile department. And before me I have a bunch of reptiles. Before I get started feeding these animals, though, I'm not going to feed all of them. I should point that out first. I did bring nearly enough food. But these animals in here are large predators. They're carnivores. They eat meat. And I know we don't like to think about it, but that's kind of what makes us up. So we do have a few safety rules I got to go over quick first. Firstly, this perimeter fence right here, it's got a lip or a ledge on the inside of that. That's not actually to rest anything on. It's actually to keep some of our larger males from trying to reach up at you, our guests. Some of the larger males can actually get their heads above the length of that perimeter fence there. So please be very careful about putting anything onto there. If you do have anything resting onto there, please hold on to that with both hands. If it hits the sand, they will bite it and try to eat it. So that bottle, for example, ma'am, I'm sorry. That water bottle right there, sorry. You can grab that, thank you. Secondly, please don't put any kids on there at all. I know it kind of comes without saying, but putting kids inside the large crocodile and alligator enclosures is a bad idea. I know these animals look like they're being relatively calm, but all it takes is something to happen to trigger a feeding response, and then they're going to blast out of the water at it. And they will be reacting very, very quickly. That's how they catch their food. Secondly, if we do have people here with small kids, we just ask that you don't put kids on shoulders. We know that's an easy way to carry kids, but it does put you high enough to beam your head on some of our signs, like the Land of Crocodiles sign back there, as well as it puts you above some of our safety fences as well. So please just take your safety to heart here. And that being said, I'm going to do the same thing, and we can get started talking about these animals. We do have a number of smaller females that just crawled out on land here. If they stay there, I might actually let them sit up here and give them some food here in a second, but if they start inching towards me, I might have to push them back into the water, if you will. When we feed most of our animals, we're feeding them to keep them healthy and happy by giving them a pellet food. And this pellet food is primarily fish and pork. There's a lot of vitamins and minerals in here as well. It turns out that in the wild, alligators are going to be eating things like turtles, fish, lizards, frogs, birds. They're going to eat rats and rabbits or anything that gets near close to the edge of the water, looking for a piece of food. Somebody's looking for a piece of food too. Do you want to come up? Open up. Open up. Good boy. That's Skipper. He's kind of a mooch. But when they're grabbing a piece of food, they're usually going to be grabbing it in the water or near the water's edge. And just because these boys are monsters, I have Bomber right next to me there. The Skipper's coming over to beg for more food there. It doesn't mean that they're going to be eating really large things. They can, but they really don't need to. To give you an example, an animal as big as some of the large 13 or 12-foot males we have in here, he's going to be eating roughly about 80 pounds of food a year or less. That's equivalent to me eating about a sandwich a week. It's a very small amount of food when you think about an animal this big. These animals are reptiles, though, and so their cold-blooded metabolism means that they don't have to waste heat, waste energy to try to keep themselves warm. So they're very, very efficient with the food that they do get compared to you and I. And so these pellets we get were made specially for us by the company that winds up making our food, and it's actually a pretty good mimic of what they would be eating in the wild. We can't just give them white meat or hot dogs and things like that because they actually will quickly get efficient and have a lot of bad health problems, just like you and I get if we stop eating things like vitamin C. I thought that's what that was. It's a big stinker. Lauren's going to laugh at me now since I walked over it. But when we toss one of these guys out, these animals are easily able to grab it in the water. However, if I toss one out on land, I'll see if I can land one next to one of these females over here. Oh, into the water. I got to put a little more arm into it. That's pretty much what happens when you throw them on land. So that's the show. Thank you very much for coming. I'm going to hop out of here now. I'm kidding. We're going to actually toss out a few more things. We very quickly found out that when you're throwing a small brown pellet onto brown dirt, first off, animals like alligators and crocodiles aren't used to really catching stuff that falls from the sky. They're also going to be going after slightly larger stuff on land. So we started to switch to whole rats when we do feeding demonstrations. And again, this is a whole animal. This is an animal that's got the liver, the stomach, the spleen. It's got what's in the rat's stomach as well, so the alligator gets to eat some of what the rat was eating. So it's a really good source of nutrition for these animals. And when they grab it, they're going to be able to grab it a little easier off the ground. Just like she did there. Would you hear the pop? She cracked her skull. So flatten the head out a little bit. But you'll notice there, she didn't really chew her food. Kind of like a dog when you give him a piece of meat. He's just going to grab it, maybe bite it a couple times, and then choke it down as fast as they can. And that's kind of what alligators do. You'll notice there when I'm tossing these rats out, that when the animals grab them, they're actually going to just kind of tilt their head up and let it slide down their throat as well. Reason for that is alligators do not have throat muscles like you and I do. They're going to allow their rat or their food to slide down their throat by gravity more than anything else. They're just going to tilt their head back, just like she's doing right now. I'll get out of the way here so folks can get a little better picture. But these animals also are going to grab stuff in the water, and they do that pretty effectively. Do you want one? You got your nice mouth wide open there. I do have one rat here left. I'm going to save one for these little girls here. They've actually been pretty good. They came out of the water, but they didn't try to kill me. So we encourage that. Not killing us, the other thing. But these animals, when they hop out of the water, they're much slower, it turns out. Primarily, they're a water predator. If you look at these animals, their eyes are above the water, their nose is above the water, their ears are above the water. But everything's really sitting low and close to the surface still, so they're very good at that. We've got a lot of animals over here. I'm going to see if I can toss one over to some of our creatures on this far side here. I just want to get out of here with both legs intact here. We've got a couple over here. You guys are getting warm today, I know. I'm going to toss one right there. It's going to float around a little bit, but somebody will find that. It might not be immediately. These animals, they spend a lot of their time during the night cruising around, looking for things on the bottom of the pool, feeling around there with their jaws. Now when we're talking about alligator and crocodile jaws, these animals can put out the strongest bite of any animal on the planet. A large croc or a large alligator can go roughly 1,000 to 3,000 pounds of force. A really large croc or an alligator can probably get closer to 4,000 pounds of force. So that's enough to crack bone, that's enough to rupture organs. Turns out that the really big animals really don't actually even need teeth. Now this is my last rat, so before I try to find someone in particular here, I wonder where he went. A little bit about our farm in general. We have been called the Alligator Farm for almost 119 years. We initially were founded in about 1893, and we have been working with these animals in the conservation and education side of them ever since. And so I'm just looking for a certain animal in here. I missed him earlier, and he gets a little grumpy when I do that. But maybe we'll find him here. I don't know exactly where he went. You already got one, my friend. He wants one more. Well, here's Murray. Murray's another one of our special friends. I'm going to have to toss it into the water, so you're going to have to get ready to catch it, Murray. You ready? That was a pretty good grab. I think you got it. We'll see here in just a second. You'll see him pick his head up. If you ever wonder which alligator grabs your camera and tries to eat it, it's the one that picks his head up. So he's swallowing it, basically. I think you got it. But that was my last rat, unfortunately. My name is Seth. Thank you very much for coming today, folks. I'm going to hop out of here, and I'll be happy to stick around for a few minutes and answer any questions if you have them about these animals or about the farm in general. I'll be happy to give handshakes as well. And thank you very much for coming. Our next show is going to be in here at 4 o'clock. So thank you very much. Have a happy holidays.